There were pictures of her drunk at a party, sitting at a museum behind a machine gun. She'd written short stories about rape. She'd written short stories about promiscuity.
The British press latched onto Amanda's old soccer moniker, Foxy Knoxy, now her sign-in name on her MySpace page.
They focused on the drunk videos of her that showed up on YouTube.
If you were looking to illustrate a story, it was all there at your fingertips.
Raffaele's online presence was just as provocative.
It was a pretty damning photo of him holding a meat cleaver. And like Amanda, he'd written fantasy stories. He seemed to be obsessed with manga, comics. It was all information that if you were someone who was facing a charge of murder and sexual assault, didn't look very good, to be honest with you.
They created a very sensational, interesting fictional character. Everything was twisted into really dark and disturbing things. This character had to fit the crime, or it doesn't make sense that she was arrested.
When Amanda's mother, Etta Mellis, arrived in Perugia late on November 6th, she was engulfed by a hungry media. Etta didn't speak a word of Italian, but the headlines spoke for themselves.
They're saying case closed, they're saying she confessed. It was awful. I mean, we were reading that stuff going, who are they talking about? It's not Amanda. And I was just in shock. I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I cried for days.
Days passed before Etta was even allowed to see or speak to her daughter in prison.
We just cried for an hour. She told me about how scared she was that night and what the police had done to her. And, then it all made sense.
The statement Amanda made to police that night would not be allowed as evidence. But this letter would be. Amanda willingly wrote this letter for police hours after her arrest. In it, she states that, in my mind, I saw Patrick in flashes. I could hear Meredith screaming. But, she writes, these things seem like a dream.
In that statement, she basically said everything she said the night before, though she did say she wasn't sure if these things were real or imagined, but that it could have been. It was her own willingness to cooperate that really got her in the most trouble.
Coming up next,
people started actually hating Amanda Knox.
But damning new evidence points to an entirely different suspect.
They found a fingerprint on the wall